Mr. Chairman, we have in this country one of the most corrupt institutions the world has ever known. I refer to the Federal Reserve Board and the Federal Reserve Banks, hereinafter called the Fed. The Fed has cheated the government of these United States and the people of the United States out of enough money to pay the nation's debt. The depredations and iniquities of the Fed have cost enough money to pay the national debt several times over. This evil institution has impoverished and ruined the people of these United States, has bankrupted itself, and has practically bankrupted our government. It has done this through the defects of the law under which it operates, through the maladministration of that law by the Fed, and through the corrupt practices of the moneyed vultures who control it. They are private monopolies which prey upon the people of these United States for the benefit of themselves and their foreign customers, foreign and domestic speculators and swindlers, and rich and predatory moneylenders. In that dark crew of financial pirates, there are those who would cut a man's throat to get $1 out of his pocket. There are those who send money into states to buy votes to control our legislatures. There are those who maintain international propaganda for the purpose of deceiving us into granting of new concessions which will permit them to cover up their past misdeeds and set again in motion their gigantic train of crime. These 12 private credit monopolies were deceitfully and disloyally foisted upon this country by the bankers who came here from Europe and repaid us our hospitality by undermining our American institutions. Those bankers took money out of this country to finance Japan in a war against Russia. They created a reign of terror in Russia with our money in order to help that war along. They instigated the separate peace between Germany and Russia and thus drove a wedge between the Allies in World War. They financed Trotsky's passage from New York to Russia so that he might assist in the destruction of the Russian Empire. They fomented and instigated the Russian Revolution and placed a large fund of American dollars at Trotsky's disposal in one of their branch banks in Sweden so that through him Russian homes might be thoroughly broken up and Russian children flung far and wide from their natural protectors. They have since begun breaking up of American homes and the dispersal of American children. What Mr. Mills is fighting for is the preservation whole and entire of the bankers' monopoly of all the currency of the United States government. Last December, I introduced a resolution here asking for an examination and an audit of the Fed and all related matters. If the House sees fit to make such an investigation, the people of these United States will obtain information of great value. This is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Consequently, nothing should be concealed from the people. The man who deceives the people is a traitor to these United States. The man who knows or suspects that a crime has been committed and who conceals and covers up that crime is an accessory to it. Mr. Speaker, it is a monstrous thing for this great nation of people to have its destinies presided over by a traitorous government board acting in secret concert with international usurers. Every effort has been made by the Fed to conceal its powers, but the truth is the Fed has usurped the government. It controls everything here, and it controls all of our foreign relations. It makes and breaks governments at will. No man and no body of men is more entrenched in power than the arrogant credit monopoly which operated the Fed. What national government has permitted the Fed to steal from the people should now be restored to the people. The people have a valid claim against the Fed. If that claim is enforced, the Americans will not need to stand in the bread line or to suffer and die of starvation in the streets. Women will be saved, families will be kept together, and American children will not be dispersed and abandoned. World enslavement plan. Mr. Chairman, when the Fed was passed, the people of these United States did not perceive that a world system was being set up here which would make the savings of the American schoolteacher available to a narcotic drug vendor in Acapulco. They did not perceive that these United States was to be lowered to the position of a coolie country, which has nothing but raw material and heart, that Russia was destined to supply the manpower, and that this country was to supply the financial power to an international superstate. A superstate controlled by international bankers and international industrialists acting together to enslave the world for their own pleasure. The people of these United States are being greatly wronged. They have been driven from their employments. They have been dispossessed from their homes. They have been evicted from their rented quarters. They have lost their children. They have been left to suffer and die for lack of shelter, food, clothing, and medicine. The wealth of these United States and the working capital have been taken away from them and has either been locked in the vaults of certain banks and the great corporations or exported to foreign countries for the benefit of the foreign customers of these banks and corporations. So far as the people of the United States are concerned, the cupboard is bare. It is true that the warehouses and coal yards and grain elevators are full, but these are padlocked, and the great banks and corporations hold the keys. The sack of these United States by the Fed is the greatest crime in history. A serious situation confronts the House of Representatives today. We are trustees of the people, and the rights of the people are being taken away from them. Through the Fed, the people are losing the rights guaranteed to them by the Constitution. Their property has been taken from them without due process of law. Mr. Chairman, common decency requires us to examine the public accounts of the government and see what crimes against the public welfare have been committed. What is needed here is a return to the Constitution of these United States. The old struggle that was fought out here in Jackson's time must be fought out over again. The independent United States Treasury should be reestablished, and the government should keep its own money under lock and key in the building the people provided for that purpose. Asset currency, the device of the swindler, should be done away with. The Fed should be abolished, and the state boundaries should be respected. Bank reserves should be kept within the boundaries of the states whose people own them, and this reserve money of the people should be protected so that the international bankers and acceptance bankers and discount dealers cannot draw it away from them. The Fed should be repealed, and the Fed banks, having violated their charters, should be liquidated immediately. Faithless government officials who have violated their oaths of office should be impeached and brought to trial. Unless this is done by us, I predict that the American people, outraged, pillaged, insulted, and betrayed as they are in their own land, will rise in their wrath and will sweep the money changers out of the temple. Mr. Chairman, the United States is bankrupt. It has been bankrupted by the corrupt and dishonest Fed. It has repudiated its debts to its own citizens. Its chief foreign creditor is Great Britain, and a British bailiff has been at the White House, and the British agents are in the United States Treasury making inventory, arranging terms of liquidations.